Guitar Heroes, Eric Andreas, your Guitar Sage here to show you something that's absolutely going to liberate you on the fretboard. And you don't need any music theory. And the cool thing is, there's another cool thing, lots of cool things about this, but I was never taught this. Never learned it in a book, never taught by a guitar teacher, a tape, anything. I came up with this myself, and I say I came up with this. I discovered this on my own. I didn't discover it, I'm sure millions of guitarists before me did as well. But this, it really can be broken up. The folks that I'm trying to reach here are really in two groups. There's three groups. There's folks that totally get this and understand this. A lot of times pros, folks that are good at improvisation and that sort of thing. They understand this concept. Then there's the folks in the middle who are like, once I show you this, you're going to be like, oh, that makes total sense. Okay, I get it. And then there's the first group, or the last group I should say, of folks that are like, I have no idea what you're talking about, why I would want to do this, and I don't know what you're talking about. All right, so those last two groups are the folks I'm trying to reach and get over to this new place where they say, oh, I get it, and it makes sense. So what I'm talking about specifically is I'm talking about being able to play licks all over the neck, and really we're talking about replicating licks, or this, if you use the word replicate or repeating or just something so that we know we're copying the same lick at different places on the neck, it will truly enhance your improvisation and your style and your understanding of the neck. So for instance, if I play this lick that goes like this, I mean, there's a reason why I was playing that style and playing some of the same licks as I was introducing you into this style. Play that lick here. Or now, for some of you are like, what? I didn't know the guitar can do that. It can do that. So others of you, you're like, I don't see what the big deal is. Well, I'm going to tell you what the big deal is in just a second. But see, unlike the piano, the guitar is able to play notes in several different ways. Oh, look, it's Eddie Van Halen. He's calling for a lesson. I wish. Okay, so basically, we can replicate these notes all over the neck, with the exception of from the 4th fret of the low E string down, and from about the last 4 frets of the high E string up. So you can think about that last 4 and the highest 4 notes on the guitar. You can't replicate because there's not other strings to do this with. Once I explain this to you, you're going to understand it. Now, why does someone need this? Well, for many reasons. There's a myriad of reasons why you'd want to do it, but a better knowledge of the neck, better improvisation, you're going to be able to go in between, you're going to be able to go all over the fretboard and not get lost, okay? It's also great for transcribing solos, or like when I'm transcribing songs or solos here on YouTube, that's what I do, is I use my ear. Now, yeah, I could pull up the live version of them playing, the artist playing, or watch another tutorial or something like that, but if the guy who I'm watching the tutorial from is wrong, well then that's not very good, right? So I like to do it my own way. I like to bring in my own ears and do it old school because it's fun to do as well. So every now and then I'll pull up the live version of a solo or something like that to see where they're at on the neck, but usually you can hear it because this right here sounds different than, you can hear the difference. This one's brighter, this one's darker. So when I'm trying to figure out where an artist is out on the neck for a particular part, that's what I use. Is I use listening to the sound, the timbre of those strings. Okay. Now, the other reason that you would want to do this is just, I talk about viewing things from different angles always, right? So whether you're talking about politics or ethics or whatever, it doesn't matter. If you look at something from all the different angles, if you just look at it from the one angle that you grew up with, that your parents grew up with, that your church and your family and everybody else grew up with, well, then you're only going to see it from that angle. You're not going to be able to see it from these other angles. But when you look at it from these other angles, you get a lot more information. Same is true with music. So you can learn all these different blues forms or scale forms, and it doesn't matter what the scale is or the genre, but you can learn all these different forms, or you can use this method, or you can do both, which is even better, so looking at it from these different angles. But this is a great place to start because you can actually play all over the neck without having to memorize all these different forms. Okay. Now, it does take a little bit of practice, but I'm going to show you how to do it. So, you've probably seen this method before of tuning when, in fact, here on YouTube, you can type in YourGuitarSage tuning guitar, and you'll find several videos, but one of them is me tuning the guitar to itself, where if I was going to tune the A string, I find an A on the low E string, so E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A. And there's my A, so this A and this A should be the same, which they are. Same thing with the D string. If I want to tune the D string, I pluck the D string, I go to the A string, and I say A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D. And so the D and this D should be the same. If one of them wasn't, then I would just have to tune it accordingly. So we can do this with all the strings at the 5th fret. Now, the B string is tuned down a half step. A lot of people don't know this, but the B string is tuned down a half step. That's why the forms sometimes change a little bit. So the guitar is tuned to fourths, with the exception of from the G to the B string. That's a major third. So 1, 2, 3, 4, that's a fourth. Okay. You don't have to know what that means, but nonetheless, when you're tuning the guitar, got to go down a half step for this guy, because the B string's tuned down a half step, and then we're back up. Okay, so that is a tuning method. You watch my video for that, and it'll make more sense as we go along. But unlike the piano and a lot of other musical instruments that cannot do this, the guitar can play the same notes, oftentimes, in a different place on the neck. Not a different octave. We can do that too if I want to play this. Those are different octaves, right? But we're talking about the same exact notes. So if I want to play on the piano, I could go ba-da-da-da-da-da, and there's only one place to play that. There's only one way to play that. I mean, you can use different fingering, but you can only play the same keys. Okay. Whereas on guitar, I could go. And that is very powerful because now what I can do is if I remember where these little places are at, and it's super easy, then you can start there as your safe place, is like an anchor, if you will, and you can work out from there, and then you'll start seeing the form underneath your fingers. So suffice to say that if you're trying to duplicate a note, and remember, if you duplicate one note, all the other notes are going to follow in the relative, they're going to move the same method, okay? So for instance, if I go, if I say, there's a little box here, you can see it. If I move strings, it looks the exact same. Right? So when you're doing this bit, it's going to be the same unless you're dealing with the G and the B string, or really you'd have to be dealing with the B string. The B string's kind of the odd man out, if you will, because he's tuned to a major third instead of a fourth. Okay, so this is how it works. If I'm going to pluck this E string, so hang with me here. I promise you that you are going to be moved by this, and it's going to help out so much. By the way, if you're getting something from this, my friends, please hit subscribe. Please hit share right now. Please do it. I have tons of lessons for you here, and it would help me out and would bless me. Thank you so much. Okay, so here I am hitting this high E string, right? So if I want to duplicate that, I would play the 5th fret of the B. Okay, here's a high E, here's the B string, 5th fret, right? So B, C, C sharp D, D sharp E. So those notes are the same, right? Well, that's only information that we need in regards to everything but the B string. So what I mean by this is if this note's an E and this note's an E, then that means 1, 2, 3, 4 blank frets will separate a note. So for instance, watch this. So here's the note. I got 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I'm going to go to this note here, and that's going to be duplicated. Now, remember the B to the G doesn't work that same way. So we're going to go straight to G, okay? So playing the same note in E. So technically I could go 1, 2, 3, 4 notes in between, and then here's my 5th note on the string that's lower. And here we go. Both E's. We can do the same thing. Watch. I'm going to play this note. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 blanks, and then here's our 5th one. Now we couldn't do it here because we'd have 1, 2, 3, 4. We need like 3 more frets to do this. Okay. So it's safe to say that if we want to replicate a note, we just have to go 4. Really, we need to go 5 frets up, but 4 blank frets in between. The only caveat to that is the B to the G, because this is tuned down a half step. Watch this. Instead of going here, I gotta go down a half step. So that's a B, and that's a B, and there's 3 notes, three blanks in between it. Okay, so really 4 frets up now. So if I want to play this note right here, and I want to play it on the G here, then I'm going to go 1, 2, 3 blanks, and then here's my note. So normally we're going to be that far away, but in this case we're only 4 frets away, or 3 blanks. Now, why is that important? What I want you to do is I want you to understand this. The exercise for this video is I want you to practice that separately with a few notes. Now, obviously when you start going up higher to start off, you're not gonna be able to go much further than the 3rd string, so you got to be lower here. But you could do it on some lower strings. You know, you could start and do the same thing. So experiment with this on just one note. Once you get that concept down, then we can start talking about licks. And so, for instance, if I want to play this lick, right? I'm gonna play the same thing here. Now remember, now here, from here to here, there's 3 blank notes, right? Because we're going from the B to the G string. So that's everything on that string is going to be down a half step. So in order for us to play accurately on that B string, we're going up a half step. Now some of this, most of this, the best way for you to really get this is to start noodling with this and just practice the single notes. Then try to practice a melody and then wrap your mind around it, a small melody like this. Or any 2-3 notes that you can put together. I can tell you and show you examples of this all day long, but really you're going to learn this stuff as you are molding the clay yourself. Not me showing you how to mold clay, but you molding the clay yourself. That's how you're really going to get this. So I just wanted to show you the concept, get you into this, and then set you loose. All right, my friends? So I use this all the time when I'm soloing, as I did in the beginning there, and I'll find my place, and then the rest of the form opens up. So you could learn all the different forms like I have in my free ebook at YourGuitarSage.com. I've got all the blues forms and the pentatonic forms and those sorts of things. So check those out. I think they're all in the ebook. I know some of them are. But nonetheless, you're going to learn these forms, and you're going to be like, well, now what do I do with the forms? This is going to help you to understand how these forms work and how they all are basically the same thing, just different versions of it. All right, my friends, so dig into this. Please let me know your comments below. What do you think about this? Did I miss anything? Is there something that you can add? Please let me know. And as always, my friends, subscribe. You need to subscribe because I have lots of videos here for you. Please share this. Notifications, set your notifications up so when I'm doing stuff, I do a lot of live events, give tons of stuff away. I'm on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and all those places. Giving thousands of dollars worth of courses and guitars away every single month. So if you're not a friend of mine on Facebook and all those places and YouTube here, you're missing out, my friends. I give a lot of stuff away, a lot of lessons and a lot of free stuff. So join me. What else can I tell you? Free courses at YourGuitarSage.com/30. The link for that's below. I go live a lot, so check that out, YourGuitarSage.com/live. And oh, by the way, after this video, I'm going to play that same track, which is in the Unstoppable Guitar System inside my mammoth course, UnstoppableGuitarSystem.com. But I'm going to put this track that I've created in the studio, I'm going to put it up right after this, when I'm done talking finally, and you'll be able to jam to it. And it will be in E, okay? So E blues. If you need help, if you need the form on how to play this, download the free ebook at YourGuitarSage.com and just make sure you're playing it at the 12th fret, this form 1. And then noodle over the top of this progression, and you're going to have a blast. All right, my friends, stick around for the jam track, and as always, my friends, be kind to all beings. Don't trust the man. Practice your guitar. I'll see you in the next video.